Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a comparison between the Gin Bolero 4 and the Sky Cima K2. I'm going to be doing a test on speed, also going to be doing a test on glide, and going to be doing a test on lift as well. So I apologize, I'm not using the same camera that I was recording with earlier just because it's not working right now, but it should work okay. Alright, to start off with, what we're going to do is we're going to do a weight test. Some of the people out there are saying that the K2 weighs so much less than the Bolero, and that makes a huge difference in the aspect. So let's weigh them and figure out what they weigh. To start off with, let's see how much I weigh. Okay, I'm 238.6. 238.6. Alright, let me pick up this Bolero. 1 second. Okay, I have got the Bolero now, so let's get on the scale, see how much it weighs with me. 251.8. 251.8. So that is 238.4 to 251.8. I think that's what, 13.4 pounds total. Alright, so let's go weigh the K2. Okay, so now I've got the K2 glider. Now let's see how much it weighs with me. 248.4. Okay, so I was at 238.6. The Bolero weighed 13.2 pounds, not 13.4 as I said earlier. And this one weighed, so I already forgot, 248.4 I believe. Yeah, 248.4. So 238.4 to 248.4 is right at 10 pounds. So there is a 3-pound difference between the Bolero and the K2. So if there is a weight advantage at all in flight and how these wings perform, then that would go to the K2. So check one. Okay, next I'm going to show you guys the placards for the wings that I tested this morning, just so you know that we are flying what we say we are. We're flying a extra large Cima K2. You can see there. Yeah, okay. And we are flying a medium Bolero. Pull this out for you guys. Medium Bolero 4. So you can see there. ENA LTFA versus AFNOR standard. I'm sorry, the extra large K2 is not certified. My bad. Okay, but the other sizes of the K2, except for the extra small and the extra small, are certified AFNOR standard. Okay. Okay guys, so you saw that there is a 3-pound difference between the Bolero and the K2. Does that make a huge difference? In my opinion, absolutely not, especially when it comes to launching. You'll notice that on the Bolero, the leading edge cells are held open with what are called nylon rod inserts. It's these little rods that go along every cell in the leading edge, which keeps the leading edge open, allowing it to grab the air when you start running immediately. The K2 does not have those. It has just mylar mesh in the leading edge itself, so it therefore has to reshape itself upon launch. It has to actually kind of open up as soon as it grabs the air. Does it make a really big difference when there is wind? Not really. I mean, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but when there's no wind or there's very light wind, the Bolero inflates much easier than the K2 does, by far. The one advantage that the K2 does have, being that it is lighter weight, is kiting in lighter wind days when there's very little wind. The K2 can stay up with a little bit less wind than what the Bolero or other wings can.
exactly 499 yards to that one little post there. So about right at 500 yards is the distance that I was flying to measure.
Okay guys, so I just compiled the data from the flight between the two, looking at the video. First of all, I want to apologize for the the crappy way some of the video turned out. I found out there was a smudge of sunscreen right on the lens, and that's that spot that you were seeing, so I apologize for that. And secondly, I apologize for not having the wind finder and the phone right up in the camera. I thought I was, but as it turned out, it was low, it was high. You did get to see it at some of the most crucial points, so you can see that the data I'm about to give you is real, but I know you didn't see for all of it, so I may have to go back and do another video just because of that. But this is what it turned out. The Bolero, or sorry, started with the K2. On that first run, what I was measuring is I was measuring the amount of time it took to get to a certain point from a certain point. Measured that distance, and as you saw, it's about just at 500 yards. Going into the wind, the K2 with the trims in, all the way in, it took me 48.8 seconds on the first run. The average speed was 25 miles per hour. The maximum speed was 27.2 miles per hour. With the wind, it took me 40.4 seconds to make that 500 yards. Average speed was 25.5. The max speed was 26.8. On the second run, going into the wind, the K2 had 50.3. That was how long it took to get between the 2 points. The average speed was 25.5. The max speed was 27. With the wind, it took me 41.5 seconds. Average speed was 25. The max speed was 27. Okay, with the trims out, the K2 into the wind took me 45.4 seconds to get to the distance. Average speed was 26 miles per hour. The max speed was 28 miles per hour. With the wind, it took me 38 seconds. The average speed was 27 miles per hour. The maximum speed was 29 miles per hour. On the second run with the trims out, 47.4 seconds. Average speed 28.5 miles per hour. Max speed 29.3. With the wind, 36.7 seconds, average speed of 28, maximum speed 28.5. There wasn't as much fluctuation on that one. Okay, now on the Bolero with the trims into the wind on the first run, took me 49.8 seconds to get there, which is right out about what it took the K2. The average speed was 28.5 miles per hour. The max speed was 31. With the wind, it took me 35.2 seconds. Average speed was 30. Max speed was 32.3. Into the wind on the second run, it took me 50.3 seconds. The average speed was 28.2. The max speed was 29.5. With the wind, it took me 34.2 seconds. Average was 30. The max was 31.8. So again, not as much deviation on that one. With the trims out, the first run, 45.8 seconds, an average of 28 seconds with the max, average of 28 miles per hour with a max of 30.2 miles per hour. With the wind, took me 35 seconds, average speed was 29 miles per hour, max speed was 32.8 miles per hour. The second run took me exactly 44.3 seconds into the wind. The average speed was 29, the max speed was 31.4. With the wind, excuse me, took me 36 seconds. Average speed was 29 miles per hour. Maximum speed was 32.3. So guys, what all that data tells me, again, it was kind of pointless now that I look back at it to measure the amount of seconds it took to get between 2 points, because when that short a distance, I mean, even when it took me longer to get there with the Bolero than it did in the K2, or maybe with the K2 than the Bolero, the wind speed was still higher on the Bolero than it was on the K2, even though it took me longer to get there on the Bolero. Could have been to wind gust, it could have been to a number of things. The thing to really look at, though, is the wind speed. And I know you didn't see it all, but it looks like the average wind speed for the K2 with the trims in is right at about 25 to 25.5 miles per hour. The maximum speed that I saw on average was, if you average 27, 27.2, 20, or 26.8, you're looking right at about 26.9 miles per hour is what it was with the wind. So you're looking right in between 25, 26 miles per hour for the K2 with the trims in, average speed with somebody my weight. Now, with the trims out, you saw an average speed of, let's see, 28.5, 26, right at 27 miles per hour. With going into the wind, with the wind, you're looking right at about 28. So between 27 and 28 miles per hour with the trims out. Okay, so you're looking at a variance of 1 to 2 miles per hour with the trims out. Now bear in mind, the K2, and I'll show you this in a second, has about 4 inches of trim, whereas the Bolero only has 2. Now the Bolero, the average speed into the wind was 28.5. Well, between 28 and 28.5 into the wind. With the wind, my average was 30. Okay, you add those two together, divide it, you're looking at an average speed of the Bolero with the trims in of 29 miles per hour, where on the K2 it was right at between 25 and 25.5. That's the big difference. Okay, with the trims out, now the Bolero doesn't have very much trim at all, so the average that I saw again was between 28.5, 29.5, so you're looking right about 30. So you're looking right about 29, 29.5 with the trims out. Again, not much of a difference on the Bolero with your trims out because there's not that much trim. But overall, wind speed, just going on wind speed, showed that the Bolero is faster than the K2. Okay, same size wing. Now, when you look at climb, what you were looking at on the screen, when you wanted to measure lift, it was the very top number on that screen. It was real hard to see sometimes. I apologize for that. The Bolero, I'm sorry, we'll start with the K2. The K2 had a maximum climb of 1.6 meters per second. I don't know what that equates to in feet. You guys have to translate, but 1.6 meters per second. That was the maximum on the climb 1. On climb 2, the maximum was 1.7. Okay, so that was on there. So you average that out. That's about 1.65 meters per second was the maximum climb I got on the extra large K2. Now the glide on the K2s, the first run, the maximum that I saw was 1 to 9 maximum, and I don't know how that's measured because, and on mine it's metric, so I don't know if that's meters. But the average, when you look at all the time and all the numbers, I know you didn't see them all, but the average was 1.75. On glide number 2, the maximum glide was 1 to 6, with an average of 1 to 0.17. Sorry, I can't even do this. 155. Okay, now on the Bolero, on the maximum climb, the maximum climb on the first one was 1.95. The maximum climb on the second one was 1.6. So you're looking at an average of 1.75, 1.8 is the maximum climb on the Bolero compared to the K2, which is 1.55 to 1.6. So the Bolero had more climb. The glide, this is where it really got interesting for me. The maximum glide that I got on the Bolero on the first one was 2.11, or 1 to 2.1. You have to look on the screen and see. And then the maximum on the second one was 1 to 2.0. The average on the first run was 1 to 1.85, and on the second one was 1 to 1.73. So on average on glide, you're looking at 1 to 8. 1 to 8, 1 to 8.5 on the Bolero versus the 1 to 6-ish on the K2. So that's a lot of data, and hopefully you guys can make more of it than what I did. But then I logged all this on my phone. You saw me doing it in flight. The bottom line is here. When you compare a medium Bolero to an extra large K2, you are faster with wind speed, and you have a better climb and a better glide. Okay, that's just what the numbers are telling me. Now, granted, you don't have as much trim speed on the Bolero, so the trim range of the K2 speed-wise is more, but even at fast trims, the K2 was slower than the Bolero was. Okay, now you may look at all this and say, well, that's all electronic, done with electronic media, there could be variation, blah, 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 and you're absolutely right, there could. But what I want to point out is that all of these tests were done on the same morning, with the same conditions, with the same pilot, using the same motor. So there is no variation whatsoever in any of those variables other than maybe what's on the electronic. But also keep in mind that I use the same instruments, the same recording to do on the Bolero and the K2. Same instrumentation was done. That instrumentation together said that the Bolero was faster, climbed better, and glided better than the K2. I look forward to responses on this. Let me know if I missed something. I'll probably do another one just to see, so you guys can see the numbers, because I think that's very important. But you did get to see a lot of the crucial numbers. So thank you guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll do it again if I need to.